Hello gorgeous soul friends, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Hannah, welcome to my channel, and it's such an honor to be a part of your wondrous earth experience today. So I wanted to make this video about revision because it's a fantastic technique for getting your desires, but it also ties into some fascinating phenomenon known as the eternal return. And I want to speak on this concept before diving into revision because it'll help you understand why revision is even a thing to begin with. But this phenomenon goes way beyond vibes and manifesting. This is your soul's evolution. As much as manifestation is an amazing practice that liberates the mind and the soul, there's a lot of manifestation coaches out there who, while wonderful and operating from a place of authenticity, know not a lick of the esoteric foundation that lies beneath the surface level concept of material manifestation. Manifestation is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. It's merely a small piece of a massive puzzle that is occultism. And you know, Neville Goddard speaks of the eternal return on multiple occasions. The idea is that it's for good. You're not just looping the same timeline over and over and over again for no reason. The world is built on a circular principle, where redemption occurs in a spiral-like format. So everything is happening in a cycle. Life is happening in a cyclical manner. You live the same life experience over and over and over again as a method of evolving. And the soul, in fact, does not reincarnate, but goes back in time and starts the same life experience over. And sometimes this happens on the same timeline, it happens in the same era, but other times it happens in different time periods, past or future. So you live the same life experience over, paralleled to match whatever era your soul is incarnating in. You do experience the same themes and the same types of experiences no matter what era you're in. So Goddard explained that we do this over and over and over again until we flower into something called the promise, which is a state where we're deemed worthy of ascension to the next sphere, as spoken about in the teachings of Theosophy and Anthroposophy. We ascend through the spheres of our solar system in order to evolve spiritually and attain the required knowledge affiliated with each sphere of consciousness. So Earth is its own sphere of consciousness, and her consciousness is teaching you something through incarnating here. Each and every one of us on this planet has a lesson that we have to learn here. There's a reason why we've incarnated onto this sphere of consciousness. She's transmitting knowledge and information into you, and that knowledge and information is manifesting in the form of life experiences. And those lessons may be vastly different depending upon who you are and what your soul needs, but Earth is essentially a school, and the classes are each of your incarnations here. So each of your incarnations you could consider a different class, a different lesson. And you know, there's quite a few references of this concept within our modern mythos. Movies, video games, all of that stuff have spoken of this concept. Groundhog Day is probably one of the more famous examples. There's also that movie with Tom Cruise, The Edge of Tomorrow. It's a really good movie if you haven't seen it. But a personal example that I really resonated with because of its quite literal expression of this idea is Little Hope from the Dark Pictures anthology, which is basically a pick-your-own-adventure style horror game about 5 different characters that incarnate with each other on 3 different occasions. So, you know, if you've played the game, you know that the first incarnation happens in colonial America during the witch trials. The second time, they're a suburban family in the 1960s. And the third time, they're a group of college students going on a trip with their professor. The 5 characters all look the same throughout each incarnation, but their features are adjusted to fit the era that they've incarnated into. And I think this can tie into the many accounts that people report of finding their doppelganger in old photos. And there's a really famous case of this with a firefighter who went to a Civil War battlefield. He had a birthmark on his jaw, and when he stepped onto the Civil War battlefield, his jaw started to hurt excruciatingly. And he ended up finding a picture a little bit later of a Civil War general, I believe, who had been shot in the same exact area where he had that birthmark. And it was kind of interesting because the Civil War general looked exactly like him. I mean, the guy even had like facial hair and everything in this incarnation, and he looked exactly the same. It was like the spitting image of this Civil War general. So in the game Little Hope, they repeat and parallel all of these same experiences, specifically their deaths because it's a horror game, Over the course of each of these incarnations, throughout the game's storyline, you see this kind of repetition. Unless you, as the conscious player, makes choices that change up the storyline and transpiring of events. So the idea is that we repeat the same experiences over and over and over again, with each lifetime being a new opportunity to change the events, so that in the next lifetime, you manifest a life experience that is reflective of that hopefully positive change. So originally the idea was that when a certain action was initiated, that you were kind of shit out of luck and you just had to wait until the next incarnation to go back and adjust it. And I think that kind of ties into the Eastern interpretation of reincarnation through the Wheel of Samsara, using each individual experience as a stepping stone to spiritual enlightenment. The promise or the ascension to the next sphere. But there's a loophole to all of this, and that loophole is revision. Going back and mentally changing the way events transpired in the past and staying true to that assumption so that you shift and align with a timeline where either those events never happened or they happened in a way that you revised. And I've seen this method work in my own experience on multiple occasions. I've also known many people who have seen this method work for them. Black Mirror Bandersnatch on Netflix has a kind of dark example of this revision, when Stefan goes back in time to the train accident that kills his mother and decides to get on the train with her, causing him to cease his own existence on the current timeline. And I'm not telling you to do this. There is a lot of karmic weight that is accrued with suicide, which is why it's considered sinful in many religions. It doesn't absolve you of your life problems. If anything, it just causes you to go back and face them again and again and again on more intensified levels until you transcend them. So face your life problems now, guys. It'll be much easier in the long run. But on a random note, I do think it's interesting that Will Poulter seems to enjoy these roles in these kind of pick your own destiny styles of entertainment. It makes me wonder if he doesn't have some kind of interest in timeline jumping or some level of knowledge around it. But that's super random. I just thought it was something interesting to note. The thing about conscious manifestation is when you bring your awareness to the present moment, you step out of linear time. As you're sitting here watching this video and being fully present with me, and you don't think about the past, you don't indulge yourself in the future, you're just sitting here purely present with neither of those things existing in your mind, you step outside of linear time. Because this moment is all that exists. Everything else is just your imagination, even your memories. So revision works by going back into those brain-generated images of your memories and changing them in your mind to fit the scenario that is desired, that is more ideal to you. And in most cases, people go back and revise past events in order to manipulate current events that are going on in their lives and manipulate the events to be reflective of the change that they made in the past. So an example would be somebody going back and revising a nasty breakup. Changing the transpiring events that caused the breakup so that in the current reality, the couple is still happily together. And this is just one of many examples. I've seen people revise all kinds of things, bills that come in the mail, fights, breakups, legal matters, money scenarios, all of that stuff. Anything can be revised to create a more favorable outcome. The thing about revision, though, is that the closer you are in linear time to the circumstance that you are trying to revise, the better it works. But that doesn't mean circumstances that happened years ago can't be revised, because time is an illusion, so you can revise any scenario that's happened in the past. The only reason it works better with events that are closer to you in linear time is because you have a more detailed memory of those experiences. You retain more information about those experiences. Therefore, you're able to immerse yourself a little bit better and anchor yourself into the memory a little bit better. So it may take a little bit more consistency with older memories, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's harder. Like, everybody's manifestation experience is different, and some people may have a perfectly swell time revising super old memories, while other people may struggle a little bit more and may need a little bit more consistency to successfully revise a past memory. Nobody's timeline shifting experience is the same. So just know that if you are struggling with revising something, just keep doing it. Just keep persisting. That's the key with all manifestation. Doesn't matter if it's revision or, manifesting something in your current life, persistence is key. And like I said, some people may require a little bit more consistency and a little bit more persistence with their revision in order to see success, while others may see it after the first time trying. It really just depends on how much resistance you have and, you know, how open your subconscious is to impressing the new belief and the new assumption. So a simple way to start revising today is, you know, take a seat, lay down, do whatever feels good, get comfortable, close your eyes, get into a relaxed state, and just take yourself back to a memory of something you'd like to change. It can be anything. It can be from this morning, it can be from 10 years ago, it could be that love letter that you never sent, it could be that job that you wanted to take but you never did because you ended up pursuing a relationship instead with somebody. You know, it could be a million different things. You can revise anything in your life. Just taking some time to relax and in your mind going back to that memory and bringing it into as much detail as possible. As much as you can remember. You know, the smells, the sounds, what, you know, the temperature of your skin, of what the environment felt like when you were there. Were you outside? Was it sunny out? Was it cold? You know, really immersing all of your five senses into this past memory and making it as real as possible for yourself. And this might take some time. You know, for some of you, you might need to be sitting in a spot for, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, even 45 minutes to an hour sometimes. It'll just depend. But going and really immersing yourself into a past memory and bringing it to mind and then playing it out in a way that you would have wanted that memory to play out. Change the events in your mind. If somebody said something to you, hear them saying something different, something more aligned to what you desire. If somebody did something to you, go back and revise and see them doing something different, or maybe even not doing anything at all. Once you feel you fully anchored yourself into the past memory, you can start changing up the details, changing up things that people said, changing up the environment, changing up the circumstance. Were you a millionaire in this past memory? Sometimes if you want to revise a circumstance so that you can have a lot of money, people will go back and integrate the sensations of what being a millionaire would feel like, you know, 2 or 3 weeks in the past, or 2 or 3 years in the past. You know, I've seen some crazy, crazy stories of people revising and, you know, having success. I've seen people revise situations with like lost pets. Like there was something that I read on Reddit one time where this guy had a dog, a puppy that had passed away, and he revised in his mind that the puppy never passed away and that somebody ended up gifting him a puppy that was the exact same kind. It even had like a certain spot on its body that was like the exact same. It was pretty much the same dog. It may have been a different dog, but he revised it, so to him, it was him getting that puppy back. So that's kind of how it works. You know, circumstances will just align themselves and shift themselves to match the new assumption. So this is the method to freeing yourself from this cycle of samsara, from this cycle of repetition, of repeating the same life experiences, the same bullshit over and over and over again. Going back and practicing revision on a regular basis will help you escape this cycle. But I'll link some revision meditations down below in the description box. I'll also be creating a revision meditation here soon, so that will be out here in the next like week or so. I'll put one up that you can use to help you revise your past and help you get your desires in the current moment. That is it for today. I hope that this video brought you the clarity and understanding of revision that you needed. Please comment down below and let me know of any revision success stories that you've had. Have you ever revised before? Are you new to revision? Are you new to manifestation? Let me know in the comment box below if it resonates with you. What are you planning on revising? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.